Hey, everybody, let's get in the word. Let's get into the breaking of bread from John 12:1. Jesus took bread and he blessed it, broke it, and gave it. And then he said, "This is my cup with my blood in it. Drink it and drink all of it." I mean, whatever I tell you to do, finish it, complete it. Do like me. Find out what I need to be doing, stay on task, and complete the job. John 12:1. Then Jesus, 6 days before the Passover, came to Bethany, where Lazarus was, which had been dead, the man that had been dead for 4 days, whom he raised from the dead. There they made him a supper, told Jesus, "Come on, we got dinner made for you." And Martha served, but Lazarus was one of them that sat at the table with him. Martha seemed to always be the one that was moving around, making sure everything was in place and doing whatever needed to be done. Now, let's see what Mary did. Then Mary took a pound of ointment of spikenard, very expensive, and anointed the feet of Jesus and wiped his feet with her hair. Now, I'm telling you, when she put her hand on his feet, that was already a submissive point of contact. She said, "Your feet," and I'm telling you, the word says, "How beautiful are the feet of those that tell the truth, that preach the gospel." And then she said, "My hair." Ain't nothing too good that I have that I can't touch. I don't want Jesus to come in contact with. So she took her hair and she took it and dried the ointment. Now she's getting something from it too, because the expensive ointment that she's putting on him, Jesus said, "You touch me, then what you give me, I give back." So I'm just saying, and the house was filled with the odor of the ointment. Then said one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, which should betray him. Now Judas had said, this is what Judas said, "Why was not this ointment sold for 300 pence and given to the poor?" You know how you can say something with your heart is not in it? God already reading your script. He knows that you're lying. That's not your purpose and why you said it, but it sounds good. Then he said, not that he cared for the poor. How you going to care for the poor? And let's see what he did. But because he was a thief and had the bag and bear what was put therein. In other words, he was the one that kept it with the money. How many deacons do we have going in the bag? How many pastors do we have that goes in the bag? How many teachers, principals, politicians? How many folk going in the bag? Why are we pointing at Judas? How many people going in that bag? But you say one thing, but you actually just dipping in a little bit. This he said, not that he cared for the poor, but because he was a thief and had the bag and bear what was put therein. Then said Jesus, "Let her alone. Against the day of my burying had she kept this." So when anytime somebody went to somebody and they going through different things, they would take something, especially this expensive oil, and they would rub it down. Because if you're going through what you want, if you go somewhere and get a massage and you paying good money for it, you want somebody to do you well because you want to kind of forget the stuff you're going through. Just kind of put you in another place. Take your mind in another place. Touching people just always, anytime somebody touch you and they touch you right, it puts you in a different place. And let me read that again. Then said Jesus, "Let her alone. Against the day of my burying has she kept this." Now Jesus could have told Judas, "Let me just tell you what you're doing. You ain't thinking about how much this oil cost." He could have just read it, but he just stayed with his assignment. He kept it moving. Anytime you could go back and forth, because Judas could have denied, "That's not what I'm doing," and Jesus would have had, he don't have to have the last word. He is the word. But he just kept it going, and he did not even tell Judas what he was doing. We were reading it now, but he didn't say that to Judas when he was not telling the truth at the table. Then Jesus said, "For the poor always you have, but me, you don't have always. It's nothing wrong with doing something right for me. You always sometimes you got to do something for people because you're going to always have to be giving something to the poor. That's not going anywhere. If you got a church, you ought to be making sure that the poor are taken care of. If you got a business, you ought to be giving it to the poor. If you got a house, you got things in there, they're not going anywhere. Jesus said that you will have them always, but every once in a while, you ought to do something for somebody who's worthy of something good to have done for them. And Mary chose that part. I see why Jesus like hanging out with these folks. He was some nice people. Much people of the Jews therefore knew that he was there. And they came not for Jesus' sake only. We want to see Jesus, but they that might see Lazarus also, whom he had raised from the dead. Where's Lazarus? We want to see Jesus, but let's see that miracle. We heard that Lazarus dead. Is that him? But the chief priests consulted that they might put Lazarus also to death. They said, now Jesus brought him back alive, but we're getting ready to kill him again. Because that by reason of him, many of the Jews went away and believed on Jesus. I told you, them Pharisees started changing. Them Jews started saying, look, this is something, this is real. Let me tell you something about the Jews now. Had it not been for the Jews, we would not have this right. So everybody that was Jewish was not wrong. God don't play. He knew what he was doing. He told the Jews, he didn't waste his time. Some of them believed. On the next day, much people that were come to the feast when they heard that Jesus was coming to Jerusalem. So Jesus is going to be there today. So then more people came. They took branches of palm trees and went forth to meet him and cried, Hosanna, blessed is the King of Israel that comes in the name of the Lord. This time they are speaking the truth. Mary did what was right. She gave Jesus something that he had a right to, something expensive. And then the next day, the people came and they gave honor and called him who he was. He was king, the King of Israel. Now, Jesus said, this is not what I came for, but it's a part of who I am. But because I'm a servant, it is right to give honor to the king. It is right to give me something to anoint my body with expensive stuff. Not that I need that, but it's a part of what you ought to do. Notice the ratio of how many times it was done. This time it was done, but many times he was so busy. But then he took some time away and allowed the people to give him some honor. But he did more work than he allowed people to give honor. Most times we give more honor than let the folk that's supposed to be leading do work. They really don't do work. They just wait for you to do something. Anyway, not good. If I said, you know it's not right. And Jesus, when he had found a young ass, sat thereon, as it is written. Everything that was written he did and followed. Fear not, daughter of Zion. Behold, thy king comes sitting on an ass colt. These things understood not his disciples at the first, but when Jesus was glorified, when he had been crucified, then remembered they that these things were written of him, and that they had done these things unto him. So when they had their remembrance, and they knew what was going on then, they couldn't quite put it together. But once everything was complete, then everything fell in line, and these disciples were nobody to reckon with. Jesus he knew the type of students he needed in his class to get the word out to us. The people, therefore, that was with him when he called Lazarus out of his grave and raised him from the dead bear record. So not only did the disciples know, those people that saw, they also bear word. They could go to the witness stand and say, I saw Lazarus dead. I put his body in the tomb. I know he was dead, but that same man is alive. It looked like to me, if we would just humble ourselves and believe, he is the Christ. For this cause the people also met him, for they that heard that he had done this miracle. So one person saw it, another person started telling, and another person started telling, and the word got out. This thing has been going out since that time. And what year is it? 2019, over 2,000 years later, the good news is still traveling. The Pharisees therefore said among themselves, perceive ye how he prevailed. The Pharisees therefore said among themselves, perceive ye how ye prevail nothing? Behold, the world is gone after him. I mean, we've done all this, and now the entire world is gone after him, and it's still coming after him. And there were certain Greeks among them that came up to worship at the feast. So we got some more folk outside of the Jews. It was some Greeks. The same came therefore to Philip, which was of Bethsaida of Galilee, and desired him, saying, can we see you young man, can we see you? Sir, we would see Jesus. This is the Greeks talking. So we got people from other nations coming in. We would see Jesus. Oh, man. Philip cometh and tell Andrew. And Andrew and Philip tell Jesus. So the word. Philip was told, we want to see Jesus. Then Philip ran and told Andrew. And Andrew and Philip both told Jesus. And Jesus answered them, saying, the hour is come that the Son of Man should be glorified. It's time for me to be crucified. Because once I get crucified, then everything about me will be glorified. The candle on the cake, if it's anything to celebrate, it will never, ever go out. I'm getting ready to be glorified, made big. Verily, verily, I say unto you, except a corn of wheat fall into the ground. He's talking to his disciples. And abide it alone. If you put it in the ground, leave it alone. But if it die, it bring forth much fruit. So I got to get into the ground so that everything, my purpose, can manifest and bring forth much more. He that loveth his life, he said, you're going to lose it. If you like doing what you want to do without him, he already said there is no life without him. Even if you're having a good time, there is no life in it. People that look like they're having life compared to people that knows life, there's a difference. You might be, famous in your group, but if Jesus is not in it, there's no life in that. If any man serve me, let him follow me. If you're going to serve me, follow me. And where I am, there shall also my servant be. If any man serve me, him will my Father honor. That's what the word says. Now is my soul troubled. And what shall I say? I'm going through some stuff now. Father, save me from this hour. Then should I say, Lord, don't let this happen to me? But for this cause came I unto this hour. Father, glorify thy name. Then came there a voice from heaven saying, I have both glorified it and will glorify it again. Conversation between the Father and the Son. I already did it, and I'm going to do it again. The people, therefore, that stood by and heard it said that it is thunder. Others said an angel spake to him. So they heard it, but they were didn't understand who was talking, and they just decided, that sounded like thunder. And somebody said, no, that's an angel talking. Jesus answered and said, this voice came not because of me, but I'm doing everything for your sake that you might believe. If it takes you hearing my Father speak, and it might sound a little scary, know that it's not for me. It's for those that need to believe. Now is the judgment of this world. Now I've come and I've shown you right from wrong. I've showed you who to listen to and who to put on mute. I showed you who to follow and who to put out of business. I came and brought division, and that's what I came to do. Now it's up to you. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out. It is your decision now. The devil has no power anymore. He can't influence you anymore. I'm shutting his mouth. I'm casting him out. The decision now to follow me is totally up to you. I gave you the right to choose. Choose me and live. That's all I can say. Now that I've done everything that I was called to do, I only came to set the record straight. Who's in darkness and who's in light. What church you ought to be going to and what church you ought to put out of business. What business you've been growing and what business to shop and what business not to shop. Bad plumbers from good plumbers. Good builders from there's so many crooked people in the world. Jesus said, get to know me and I'll put the light on everybody so you can distinguish who's right, who's a goat, and who's a sheep. That's why I came. I came that you might have life. I came that when you spend your money that you ought to see profit. I'm going to expose everybody. They're going to say one thing, and they're going to expose themselves and how they do business. You're going to have to search to find me. Just like them Greeks came and said, we do seek Jesus. And when you want the right people to be doing the work for you, God will show you a sign. If he says anything don't line up with my word, he said, don't follow him. Follow me. Follow the one that has integrity. That's in business. But as far as churches are concerned, it is time, and I pray that we stop entertaining people just to say, these are my members. They are not. These are people that don't know God, who come to you to be introduced to God, and you hold them back. You don't want to know God, and neither do you want the people that you lead to know. And what did I hear Miles Monroe say this morning? He said, just because you blind don't mean you can't lead. You just going to lead people in the same ditch you going in. So be careful that you don't take the word and just see it as a book for somebody to feed you. You better feed yourself with this word, because this is the light of the world. This is the light of life, the word of God. And then it teach you how to find the right wife and the right husband. Because they're going to say something with their tongue, and then you're going to be able to withdraw if you want to. And if I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto me. If I'm going to be lifted. This he says, signifying what death he should die. He said, I know you're going to hang me on. I know you're going to crucify me. The people answered him, we have heard out of the law that Christ abideth forever. So if you are the Christ, how are you going to be lifted up? And how sayest thou the Son of Man must be lifted up? Who is this Son of Man? All his titles and whatever you call yourself, we already know who Christ is. Then Jesus answered for himself. Jesus said unto them, yet a little while is the light with you. Walk while you have the light, lest darkness come upon you. For he that walk in darkness knoweth not where he goes. I am the light. Follow me. I'm going to leave you the Holy Spirit, and that's going to be what I got on the inside behind that door. Once you get me and lift me up, it's not done yet. And then I'm gonna send you myself so I can be everywhere. Walk with me now. Because as soon as you get in darkness, you're gonna be lost. You ain't gonna know where you're going. So I just distinguish light from darkness. I told you I'm the way. Listen to me, people. Listen. While ye have light, believe in the light, that ye may be the children of light. These things spake Jesus and departed, and did hide himself from them. He said, okay, I said all I got to say. I'm going behind the scene now. But though he had done so many miracles before them, yet they believed not on him. So I told you, if you don't believe the words I said, believe the works that I do. If you can come up with anything better, then you can't. That the saying of Isaiah the prophet might be fulfilled, which he spake, Lord, who has believed our report? And to whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed? All of this goodness. Well, what more can he do? Therefore they could not believe, because that Isaiah said again, he has blinded their eyes and hardened their hearts, that they should not see with their eyes, nor understand with their heart, and be converted, and I should heal them. In other words, unless you want me, you would never get me. God said, I'm in control. If you want me, I'll open your eyes. If you want me, I'll let you see. But if you don't, your sins remain. If you don't want me, and I declare there's nobody else that has declared that they are no other religious leader, if you want to put Jesus in the class of a leader, nobody has ever done the work he did, and nobody has ever spoken like he did. Not in my day and not in that day. These things said Isaiah when he saw his glory and spake of him. So when Isaiah saw this day, he wrote it and he spoke it, and now we see it and we can still have it. Nevertheless, among the chief rulers also many believed on him. Them Jews and Pharisees started believing. But because of the Pharisees, they did not confess him. Oh, Lord have mercy, I believe this man. Lest they should be put out of the synagogue. But I don't want to, I just can't. I've seen so many pastors who get a glimpse of what God want to do greater in the church, but to follow him, they just say, I can't pay that price. It's too much. I'm going to lose too much. For these people love the praise of men more than the praise of God. I don't know what you're going to lose. You ain't going to do nothing but gain good sense. Because you're walking in the dark if you don't accept Jesus. And I don't get it. Lord have mercy. I thank you that I hungered and you fed me. For they love the praise of men more than the praise of God. Jesus cried and said, he that believes on me, believe not on me, but on him that sent me. He said, I'm sent from my Father. And if you can't believe me, then believe my Father, because that's who I represent. That's who I am. My Father and I are one. You're not believing on me. You're believing on the one that sent me. And he that sees me sees him that sent me. If you want to get to know my Father, then look at me. If you want to know how good God is, then how good have I been? I am come a light into the world, that whosoever believeth on me should not abide in darkness. You can stay in darkness, but I'm telling you, you don't want to. Follow me. I've opened up the light so you can see. Don't do business with folk that I show you a glimpse of them. Don't go to churches when you got to find out that they are not going to give you all of me. Oh, Lord. And if any man hear my words, if you hear my words, what you talking about? And believe not, I judge him not. If any man hear my words and believe not, I judge him not. For I came not to judge the world, but I came to save the world. I showed you what is right, and I showed you what is wrong. No judgment. It's choices. Whatever you choose, it's on you. I just happen to be the one that come and separate. I took the darkness from the enemy, cast him out, so that you won't be fooled by him any longer, because you have a right to make your own decisions. And all I'm saying, it's no more judgment here. It's all about, what do you want? He that rejects me and receive not my words hath one that judge him. The word that I have spoken, the same shall judge him in the last day. That's not my job to judge. At the end of the day, my Father is going to say what you got to show. He's going to do the separating. I'm here to get you on the side that you want to be on. For I have not spoken of myself, but the Father which sent me. He gave me a commandment, what I should say and what I should speak. I've only spoken what I was authorized by my Father to say. He gave me a commandment. I couldn't speak on my own. I gave you exactly what he wanted. Now it's up to you what you're going to do. And I know that his commandment is life everlasting. Whatsoever I speak, therefore, even as the Father said unto me, so I speak. Ladies and gentlemen, this is John 12. We've just ate 52 pieces of bread. Let's get ready for John 13.